In the procedure mystery below, the parameter number is a positive integer. Which of the following best describes the result of running the procedure mystery? So we have this code mystery here, so let's read it. So we have this procedure mystery that takes in a parameter number. So it takes in some number, which is a positive integer. And then we're going to repeat until number is less than or equal to 0. So we're going to repeat whatever's inside these curly braces. So this line here. And this line here sets number, assigns number to the value of number minus 2. So number is this parameter we passed in here. So what this line does is subtract 2 from the value of number and then assigns that final result into number. So it's just reducing the value of number by 2. It's just subtracting 2 from number. Then this is going to repeat over and over again until number is less than or equal to 0. So obviously, if number is a positive integer, subtracting 2 after some time, after enough subtractions of 2, it will become less than or equal to 0, and this condition will then become false. So we're going to stop repeating and then move on in the code. So once this repeat block here ends, we're going to go to this if-else statement. It says if number equals 0, so after we subtracted 2 from number a bunch of times, if number equals 0, we're going to return true. Else, meaning when number does not equal 0, so that's what the else is basically saying, since else runs when the if statement here is false, so that means the else will run. So when number does not equal 0, we're going to return false. So to understand this code, let's plug in a random number. So let's say number equals 5. So when we do this, we're going to repeat until number is less than or equal to 0. So right now number is 5, and that's obviously not less than or equal to 0. So we're going to go inside the repeat statement and set number equal to number minus 2. So 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. So the new value of number is now 3. 3 is obviously not less than or equal to 0. So that means we're still going to run this repeat block again. And this time we're going to subtract 2 from 3 again. So then this time our new value of number is 1. 1 is not less than or equal to 0. So that means we're going to do the repeat again and subtract 2 again. And this time our value of number is going to be negative 1. So now when number is negative 1, that is less than or equal to 0. And since we're only repeating until whatever's inside here is true, and that happens when we had a value of number equal to negative 1, because negative 1 is less than or equal to 0. So then we're done with this repeat block, and our value of number is going to be negative 1. So now we do this if statement. So number is negative 1, and obviously negative 1 is not equal to 0, so we're not going to run this, whatever's inside the if statement. We're going to go to the else statement because this if statement was false. So else says return false. So when we ran the number 5 as our value of number, we got a result of false. Now, what if we did a number like 4? Here, let's delete this here. So we generally know what the code's going to do. We're going to repeat until number is less than 0, less than or equal to 0, and we're going to subtract 2 from number if this is not true. So when we first run 4, we're going to then end up with 2. That's still greater than 0. Then we're going to end up with 0. And now number is less than or equal to 0 because 0 equals 0, since we have this equal to symbol here. So that means this is going to be our final value of number. And the if statement says if number equals 0, and that's true, 0 equals 0. So then we're going to return true, and we're not going to do the else statement. Instead, we're just going to do the if, because the if statement here was true. So that means the result of this is true. So you probably see it by now, but when we put an odd number as the value of number, like 5, and we keep subtracting 2, we end up with -1, because 5 is not divisible by 2, so no matter how many times you subtract it, we're not going to get 0 as the final answer, we're going to get -1. And when we get -1 as the final value of number, that's not equal to 0, so then the else statement runs and we return false. So whenever the number is odd, our result is false, and then when our number is even, our result is true, because 4 is divisible by 2, so if you subtract 2 times, you get 0, and this if statement is now true, so then you just return true, because the if statement here is if number equals 0, so 0 does equal 0, then do what's inside this curly brace, and inside this curly brace it says return true. So that means what the code does is return false when the number is odd and return true when the number is even. So that's answer choice C here. The procedure returns true when the initial value of number is even, and otherwise returns false.